You know there was controversy about the price of Skyward Sword HD when Nintendo stands were contemplating whether it's worth the purchase. Unfortunately, a lot of them just like blowing smoke because they definitely bought this in droves. Now as always, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and drop a like for your boy at the end if you enjoyed the review. I don't feel like saying this all the time, but these actions you can do for free really help the channel grow and garner favor with the YouTube algorithm. Now, I bought Skyward Sword HD not because I'm a Nintendo stan, but because I never got the chance to play the game a decade ago. This was an opportunity for me to play a title in the Legend of Zelda series I never had the chance to experience, and to be honest, you could say I'm a Legend of Zelda stan. Either way, I'm glad I did. So without further ado, let's get into this review of Skyward Sword HD. Yo. First, let's get the obvious out the way with the visuals. Since this is a remaster of the original Wii game, we've seen a graphical upscale from the original port being 825 by 470 resolution to a steady 1080p when docked and 720p when undocked. While the cel-shaded art style of the original port is maintained and increased to a better HD resolution, you can see residuals from the Wii graphics and the textures of the atmosphere, giving off an oil pastel look to the atmosphere, especially on the surfaces like floors, walls, and the terrain. You can tell this was a melded 3D which fabricated the illusion of a traditional painting coming to life. For instance, the grassy areas of the world are completely flat, similar to other decors like floor mats, carpet decor, vines for climbing, shrubbery that scale columns, fallen leaves, straw, and even the magma and the sand terrain were just completely two-dimensional. If it's not an object that is meant to be cut or interacted with, completely flat. Whether 3D visuals shine, or in the case of character models, 3D objects, and the cutscenes. Hot damn, you can tell the remaster team went in on these models. Anytime Link interacts with an NPC, the amount of detail in how they move, talk, and how their body parts exude 3 dimensions to make them as lifelike as possible. The most graphical detail you will come upon in the game are from the items and accessories that you pick up and use. The detail in the art and upscaled resolution make these items look valuable. Whether visuals speak for themselves or during the cutscenes, the graphical fidelity, lighting, and contrast achieved to bring this game up to date on the Switch console is awesome. On to the content provided. Even though Skyward Sword came out in 2011, after playing the remaster for the Switch, I kinda feel like it would have been relevant enough for current gen. I never got the chance to play Skyward Sword when it first debuted, but this is such a well put together game. There's definitely about 25 to 30 hours worth of gaming content available, and it took me maybe close to around 40 hours to beat. Per usual with most Legend of Zelda games, you as Link are set off into the world to explore and be adventurous. Other than the main storyline, there are a plethora of side quests to do to occupy yourself while you're on a mission to save Zelda and the world in general. Typical quests like finding pieces of heart, uncovering treasure chests for extra rewards like ammo and rupees. Then, there are the unique type of quests that require you to find these peculiar blue cubes placed around the world by Hylia. These goddess cubes offer special rewards for Link when he strikes them with the light from a skyward strike. These rewards come in the form of extra pouches for bags, rare minerals or items, gold rupees, and etc. They are found in sealed treasure chests scattered around in the islands in the sky. Another unique quest comes from a demon named Batro, who wishes to become human, but in order to do so, will require gratitude crystals. This sets you off on a multitude of side quests to help as many people around the Skyline Islands, doing various odd jobs, offering aid, and just simply going out your way to be nice to gain gratitude crystals in return and then giving them to Batro. You get unique mini games to play to gain some interesting rewards. A few of my favorites are the Clean Cut Challenge, the Fun Fun Island, and the Rickety Coaster. The best content of them all is of course the dungeons, 7 in total, with a variety of foes, mini-bosses, and dungeon bosses to encounter. I can elaborate further next in the gameplay section of this review. Last but not least, the game's soundtrack is phenomenal, with an organized orchestra work that spans 6 discs. Each setting in the world of Skyward Sword has its own dedicated theme. Same goes with the main or important characters of the games. My favorite theme is called the Ancient Lanairu, which plays when first making it to Lanairu Sansi. My favorite character theme has to be Girahim's. The way it's composed and how it catches the menacing, sadistic character of the Demon Lord is fantastic. The gameplay is fairly enjoyable. I merely say this because of the gripe that I and many others have with the core mechanic of this title, the motion control focus. If Skyward Sword was not made with the intention of motion control, this game would have been a perfect 10 out of 10, but due to the janky controls associated with the Wii Motion aesthetics, made it not hard but annoying to grasp. Thankfully with the Switch version, we're given an opportunity to opt out of motion controls and use the Pro Controller. In my opinion, the Pro Controller is a saving grace and better way to play Skyward Sword HD. It took a little while to get used to the sword handling and aiming features using the right joystick, but after maybe about an hour or two of playing, it becomes second nature. Flicking the joystick in either direction makes Link swing his sword in a particular motion. The shield mechanic is pretty simple when it comes to combat. Pressing the left trigger button makes Link pull out his shield, but you need to hold down the button in order to actively defend yourself. While you're shielding, you're not able to use the sword, but that's fine with me because I like to use this opportunity to use the parry. Give me the proper opening when an enemy strikes to stun them and unleash a barrage of sword attacks. Speaking of shields, there's a useful mechanic that allows us, the player, the opportunity to upgrade our shield at the item shop in Skyloft. This is because your shield has a durability meter. Depending on the type of shield you are using, the atmosphere and its level of durability is essential to your survival. You get 3 different types of shields from the shop: a wooden shield, iron shield, and a sacred shield. But the indestructible Hylian shield comes later in the game through a particular quest. Your shields aren't only items in the game with the ability to be upgraded. You can do so with your bomb bag, seed bag, and quiver to upgrade your ammo capacity for those items. You can also upgrade your other weapons and unique items like the beetle, slingshot, and bow to increase damage output, speed, or area of effect. Now the best part about the gameplay has to do with, of course, traversing the landscape and exploring dungeons. Using your Loftwing to traverse between islands is fun, but sometimes can be a little stiff to work with. For instance, parachuting off your trusty bird companion can get a little tricky if you're aiming to land on a narrow piece of land to grab some treasure. I also kinda wish we could do more with the Loftwing, like fly with it below the clouds, the ability to fly during nighttime, or have the firefights where you'll have to do a barrel roll. The dungeons are pretty awesome, and in typical Legend of Zelda fashion, each one is associated with a particular setting and theme, usually having to do with the basic elements of earth, fire, water, air, electricity, time, and etc. But they're all not named after their respective main elements. As previously stated, there are 7 in total, and each of them serve a main purpose to progress the story forward. All possess some sort of item or upgrade required for you to either get through the dungeon, or you will require to defeat the dungeon boss. For instance, the Gust Bellows is a crucially important item when navigating the Lanairu mining facility. It blows a consistent gust that clears sand mounds from the terrain to reveal hidden items or creatures and is used as a platforming tool when navigating the dungeon. Lastly, it's an important tool used to defeat the dungeon's boss, Molderak, a giant scorpion that burrows itself in the sand to attack you from below. So using the Gust Bellows helps you remove the sand to reveal its location in order to finish it off. Same thing with the whip when it comes to navigating the ancient cistern dungeon and defeating the final boss, Kalaktos. Might I add, I heard about this boss prior to ever picking up Skyward Sword, and I have to say, the way you defeat Kalaktos is definitely stamped as top 5 in all my all-time Zelda boss battles. Just look at how satisfying this is. The dungeons are definitely one of the high points in Skyward Sword's gameplay, given how unique each of them have been constructed to fit the theme it represents. Along with world exploration, each area in the map is meant to be returned to on multitude of occasions for different agendas. Even though it may seem very linear compared to other titles in the series, Skyward Sword does a fantastic job of keeping you occupied with many tasks should you choose to accept them. Alright, last but not least, the plot. As a fair warning, there will be minor spoilers for the game, but I'll try my hardest to refrain from revealing too much if you plan to pick it up in the near future. I mean, you kinda had 10 years to get that done, but let's get on with it. Straight off the rip, I have to say that Skyward Sword has one of the most well-written plots in the Legend of Zelda franchise, and with reason. It's likely having to do with the fact that it serves as the origin story for the franchise as a whole. So I'm sure the director and the writer had to come correct, or else they would get hammered with the Rotten Tomatoes by the fans. Setting off above the clouds on a remote island called Skyloft, we're introduced to a teenage Link and Zelda, living about their everyday lives according to the traditions of the Skyfolk, until one day Zelda is whisked away by a gust of wind and is hurled below the clouds, thus commencing Link's call to heroism via Fi the night that Zelda has been lost. Link is led by Fi to the inside a goddess statue, and from there, he's encouraged to take up the dormant goddess sword, and a path to the surface below the clouds is illuminated to begin his journey. Link is given his first uniform from the Knights Academy, in the form of the green legendary tunic of the hero, and off he goes after being gifted his first shield from Olin and his traveler's pouch from Fledge. After his first touchdown on the surface, Fi reveals that the sealed ground used to be one with Skyloft, and immediately, Link has his first vision of the sealed evil below. Once striking the seal with a Skyward Strike, Link makes his way up to the temple and meets an old sage inside, whom ends up being your main guide throughout the story. As you make your way from terrain to terrain looking for the whereabouts of Zelda, you meet many different sentient creatures along your path. Creatures such as the archaeologist Gorons, Gorko, and Golo, the Kikwi of Farron Woods, the Perella of Lake Floria, the treasure-hunting Magmas of Elden Volcano, and the time-shift stone-digging ancient robots of Lanairu Desert. At the end of Skyview Temple, you have your first encounter with Girahim, and at the end of the Earth Temple is the first encounter you have with Impa, who is actively protecting Zelda. After catching up to Zelda and Impa after navigating the Lanairu mining facility, Girahim rushes them and Link is forced to hold the line while Zelda and Impa escape through the Gate of Time. After the first round of escapades, the old sage at the sealed grounds informs Link to strengthen the power of the goddess sword. While watching over Groose, who has followed Link from the sky, the imprisoned breaks out of the seal and Link must reseal it. This becomes a reoccurring theme and mechanic of the game and our plot. Link is given a set of 3 missions to accomplish to progress the story, and each time after completing them, the imprisoned will break out stronger than the previous time, prompting Link to reseal it at the bottom of the sealed grounds. Skyward Sword's plot shines as a coming-age tale, displaying the writer's and director's dedication to the storytelling. Witnessing a young boy known for lazing around and being forgetful find his purpose once his friend has gone missing, finding the courage to explore the vast unknown, developing the wisdom to overcome difficult obstacles, and steadily building the power necessary to defeat challenges set before him, all while fulfilling his destiny into becoming the standard of a hero for many generations to come. Seeing a pampered little princess overcome fear, hold herself accountable for her actions, and bear the responsibility of doing what needs to be done. Showcasing a bully, set his fragile ego and pride aside for the betterment of the whole, building the courage to self-reflect and tackle new challenges while making an invaluable friend out of his once sworn rival. A robotic entity learning to find value in emotion and understanding the lasting bond of friendship through fulfilling her role as a guide to a chosen hero. A guardian learning to accept help from one she deemed unworthy and fulfilling her duty and promise at the expense of her own life force. An all-powerful demon learning to not play with and underestimate his foe after being bested consistently. Lastly, a tyrannical supreme being humbled by the very life form he deemed as weak and unworthy. Skyward Sword is a worthwhile experience for any Legend of Zelda fan, especially if you were introduced to the series through Breath of the Wild. Does this mean that this was worth $60? No. Even though I believe it was a worthwhile experience and a great game, $60 was too much of a price for a 10-year-old port. It honestly should have been priced between $30 and $40 if we're being accurate. In the end, I enjoyed myself playing this entry in the series. It was always on my bucket list, and I'm glad I was able to play the enhanced version instead of the Wii port. I know for sure I would have put that thing down within an hour of using motion controls. If you enjoyed this review of Skyward Sword HD, make sure to check out my Link's Awakening review and other Legend of Zelda content on the channel after subscribing and hitting that bell. What did you guys think of Skyward Sword HD? Did you purchase at the $60 price point? Or are you boycotting Nintendo for their overpricing? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and drop a like for your boy to help with the tube algorithm. You know the vibes. It's Kaizoku Sleven. Appreciate you.